振っとんねん一人フォークでみんなもずっとそれ口の中に入れるとパッと入ってる。
Have you ever been curious about the inner workings of the Yakuza? If you think you know everything about the fabled criminal enterprise, you're in for a rude awakening as you go into the shadows and discover 25 gripping secrets that will prove you wrong. From unknown customs to unexpected allegiances, we lift the veil on a world few have tried to investigate. Prepare to be enthralled as we reveal the hidden histories of glory, power, and deceit. Origins of the name Yakuza. The word Yakuza has a special number of connotations due to its regional dialect origin. It originates from the Japanese card game Oichi Kabyu, which is typically played with a Hanafuda deck, and whose name is derived from the numerals 893, or Yatsu Kyu San. The player's score is calculated by summing the points from several cards and discarding the lowest total. Curiously, the sum of 8, 9, and 3 is 20, which according to the rules of the game is worth exactly nothing. Therefore, Yakuza originally meant without glasses, useless people, or gambling people, reflecting the stigmatized social status of those commonly associated with these pastimes. There were two original Yakuza factions. Two separate subcultures developed in post-war Japan and ultimately gave rise to the Yakuza. The first group, the Tekiya, consisted of the lowest status citizens. This transformation into gangs may be traced back to the 17th century when these individuals first formed organized groupings. The second group comprises Japanese social outcasts known as the Bakuto. Similar to loan sharks, these people partake in gambling and lending money. The word Yakuza originates from the Bakuto. They have a very special initiation ritual. Yakuza organizations are hierarchical, thus new members must answer with greater experience. There is a lengthy winding road to the top of the Yakuza's intricate hierarchy. However, there's a mandatory initiation ceremony for all new members called Sakazuki Goto. The neophyte will stand in front of his oyabun, while others pour sake and perform other rituals. As a sign of respect, the newcomer is given a smaller serving size, and his oyabun cup is filled to the brim. The Koban and Oyabun's relationship officially starts here. Yubitsuma Ritual. Joining the Yakuza is similar to making a lifelong commitment. Members are expected to show unwavering loyalty to their clan, and those who do not are subject to the Yubitsuma Ritual, in which the offender's little finger is severed. If there are further infractions, the rest of the finger is severed. The severed finger represents the disintegration of the swordsman's hand, and by extension, the disintegration of his clan.
The major gangs are kept under constant surveillance these days in a continuing war of nerves.
They even had an exam. The Yamaguchi-gumi subgroup established a 12-page test in 2009. The government's actions followed the passing of stricter regulations targeting organized crime. The purpose of the quiz was to ensure that everyone in the group had read the new regulations and applied them without incident. Participants will be tested on their understanding of the specific actions that are either permitted or forbidden. Leaders who are well versed in crime control law are in a better position to direct their teams toward positive outcomes and shield them from negative fallouts. Showed solidarity with the public in 2011. The Yakuza were among the first to aid tsunami victims in Japan in 2011, before the Japanese government arrived. Supplies such as food, water, blankets, and hygiene have been transported by the Yakuza crime organization to shelters in northeastern Japan. This shows that unity is not unprecedented in the mafia. Kobe, Japan's fifth largest city, was struck by an earthquake in 1995, and the Yakuza responded by delivering aid to victims on scooters, boats, and even helicopters. Mostly male members. The Yakuza have always been dominated by men, and this patriarchal structure has persisted throughout the organization's existence. Women's exclusion from the Yakuza has its origins in the established gender roles in Japanese society. Women were expected to maintain the appearance of a good family and fulfill traditional roles such as caregiving and housekeeping. As a result, they were restricted to more domestic responsibilities and were much less likely to engage in criminal activities. There are some women in the Yakuza, but their numbers are much smaller than those of the men. As the spouses, girlfriends, or sisters of male members, some women may have ties to the Yakuza. However, rather than being central figures in criminal activity, they play a secondary role. There have been rumors in recent years of women organizing their own criminal organizations known as the Onagumi, or women's groups. Bob the Builder was changed because of them. If Bob the Builder were introduced to Japan, some adaptations would have to be made. The character would require one extra finger, making a total of 5. This change is a nod to the Yakuza penal procedure known as yubitsume, which entails severing the tip of the victim's little finger. Because of this cultural awareness, the design of the figure will not inadvertently conjure up visuals or connotations linked with the behaviors of the Yakuza. Tattoos are important. One of the most recognizable characteristics of the Yakuza is the elaborate body art they sport. The Bakuto, known for their elaborate body art, are the cultural ancestors of this practice. Using sharpened bamboo needles and traditional Japanese tattooing instruments, ink was placed beneath the skin in a process called irizumi. Due to the pain that this treatment causes, as well as the fact that it is extremely costly and might take years to finish, it is viewed as a symbol of affluence and fortitude. The only exception to the full-body coverage of the irizumi is a narrow stripe in the center of the breast. Non-Yakuza people are increasingly getting these tattoos, and not just Yakuza symbols like dragons and ladies. Engaged in corporate blackmail. Yakuza are notorious for the use of bribery, which is known as sakaya. To participate in shareholder meetings, they must first invest in the company. They would then investigate the company thoroughly and threaten to divulge damaging information at a meeting unless they were paid. As shame is the single greatest source of anxiety for the Japanese, this strategy works frequently. A blackmailer who had attempted to extort money from Mitsubishi, a major Japanese company, was sentenced to 8 months in prison. The Yakuza love Sanya Matsuri. Annually, on the 3rd weekend of May at Sensoji Temple in Akaza, Tokyo, hosts one of its largest festivals, Sanya Matsuri. There were many Yakuza at this festival. While the participants might not flaunt their tattoos in public on a daily basis, they are encouraged to do so at the event. Some Japanese mafia organizations not only attend, but also provide funding for makashi, or portable shrines, performing at the event. They can average around $500,000 and they can weigh close to a ton. Link between sumo wrestlers and the Yakuza. The Yakuza and sumo have always had a close relationship. Many unsuccessful sumo wrestlers join the Yakuza as enforcers, and some even rise to the rank of Yakuza leaders. Yakuza has a long history of illegal gambling in its sumo business. The Yakuza have always looked for ways to profit from the large number of bets placed on sumo contests. Some members of Yakuza have been implicated in scandals that rocked the sport of sumo by manipulating or fixing matches through their connections and influence. Ex-members need prosthetics. Those who have lost a finger in the yubitsume ceremony are more likely to have a difficult time adjusting after leaving the Yakuza. Some companies have developed prosthetics to give them a chance to lead a normal life free of prejudice. Many ex-mafiosi have a chance to reintegrate into society as good citizens, and thus absolutely start a new life, owing to silicone prosthetics that have been meticulously sculpted and appear quite realistic. Also active in other parts of the world. Although the Yakuza are most commonly identified with Japan, their reach is not limited to the country. Yakuza is a criminal organization worldwide because of its extensive international connections and a wide range of illegal activities. Specifically, Yakuza has significantly increased its operations in Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand, the Philippines, and Cambodia. Yakuza can set up operations and make money off drug trafficking, human trafficking, and sex trade because these are major transit points for these illegal activities. Very rich organization. Because of the illegality and secrecy of their businesses, pinpointing the exact size of Yakuza's wealth is difficult. Most of Yakuza's money comes from illegal operations such as drug dealing, extortion, prostitution, gambling, and loan sharking. Some accounts put Yakuza's annual earnings in billions of dollars, therefore it's safe to assume they bring in a lot of money. These estimates should be treated with skepticism as they are frequently the product of speculation and can be difficult to verify. Problems with the Olympus Corporation. The Japanese optical equipment was manufactured by Olympus Corporation. In October 1919, Takeshi Yamashita launched a company to produce microscopes and thermometers. Currently, the company is a leader in the field of digital cameras, medical equipment, and scientific instruments. Tsuyoshi Kikukawa, CEO of the company, was ousted in 2011 after it was discovered that he had paid the Yakuza, the largest criminal organization in the history of Japan, approximately $1.6 billion. Newspaper front pages and national news broadcasts worldwide are controversial. The vice president of Fujifilm, Huntaro Suzuki, was assassinated with a katana in 1994 for refusing to pay bribes. Link to politics. The Yakuza connection with Japanese Justice Minister Kishu Tanaka led to his resignation in 2012. However, the mafia has always had an impact on Japanese politics. For instance, Prime Minister Nobuyosuke Kishi had strong ties with Yamaguchi-gumi. Kishi and other lawmakers freed the Yamaguchi-gumi leader from murder convictions in 1971. He went to the Yakuza weddings and funerals. Additionally, Yakuza members are frequently portrayed as security guards and political campaigners. Yakuza Magazine. Yamaguchi-gumi Shinpo is Yamaguchi-gumi's official magazine. The magazine features fishing-related articles and haiku poems. The magazine is not available to the public and is meant to promote core Yakuza ideals such as loyalty and discipline. The Kyushu dispute, which involved other Yakuza factions, resulted in the deaths of innocent bystanders. As a result, membership in the organization was dwindling. Therefore, the magazine was published to promote morale and lessen the public's bad perception of the mafia. The First Godfather. Given the complexity of Yakuza and the fact that the organization has been around for generations, identifying a single first Yakuza Godfather is impossible. An Oyabun is the head of a Yakuza clan, also known as a Kumi or a Bori Okuden, and each Kumi or Bori Okuden reports to a higher-ranking Oyabun. Yoshio Kodama, however, is a key character who is frequently mentioned in accounts of the early Yakuza. Kodama was born in 1911 and was a major figure in the criminal and political underworlds of 20th century Japan. Although not a typical Yakuza boss, he was an important figure in the decades following World War II and maintained strong connections to both the political and criminal elites. The government feared that they would steal the Nintendo. There were legitimate safety concerns about the arrival of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES, in Japan in 1990 due to the presence of the Yakuza. Because of their participation in numerous illegal operations and their desire to make money, Yakuza considered the SNES a desirable target for theft. Both Japanese authorities and Nintendo took measures during the SNES shipments and distributions to lessen the likelihood of this occurrence. The console's transfer was facilitated in part by doing it after hours. The consoles were sent during non-business hours and under darkness to lessen their appearance and the likelihood of theft by criminal elements such as the Yakuza. Considered to be heirs of the samurai. The Yakuza have been called the legitimate descendants of the samurai. Both have rigid hierarchies based on the codes of honor and subservience. They have an appreciation for violence as a means to an end. Both value and honor their heritage. Code of honor. While they may be involved in illegal activities, the Yakuza still adhere to their own code of honor, or giri. This idea stresses accountability to others and selflessness in service for the group. Influence in society. Literature, movies, art, and fashion have all experienced Yakuza's cultural influence in Japan. Their stories and images have left an unmistakable mark of culture throughout the world. Unique style. It's true that the Yakuza have their own unique, instantly recognizable fashion sense. Members of the Yakuza are known for their sophisticated style, which generally includes tailored suits, sunglasses, and unique accessories. The fitted suit is a signature of the Yakuza style. Members of the Yakuza are instantly recognizable by their shapely tailored clothes, which convey the air of authority and professionalism. Dark colors, such as black and navy, are commonly used for these suits because they help draw attention to the wearer's physique. Their power has declined. The Japanese government has become increasingly active in its fight against Yakuza. Yakuza's ability to conduct business openly and access illicit funds has been hindered by stricter rules. Laws targeting Yakuza and increased police presence have been crucial in reducing their power and impact.